Gold prices have staged a rally the last few days and closed in on $1,800 per ounce again. Good news for gold producers, also like Australian junior Kaiser Reef, which is trading on the ASX with the symbol KAU. Today, we're talking to Managing Director Jonathan Downs to hear more about this promising company and its plans and potential. Welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you, Bjorn.
Jonathan, with any company, especially with juniors, management is of great importance in assessing or evaluating chances of success. So please give us a bit of background on yourself and the rest of the team at Kaiser Reef.
Sure, I think that's a very good point. I'm a career geophysicist, and I've been involved in 6 companies that have gone through into production. So we've actually taken it from the exploration phase and seen mines come out the other end. So very focused on genuine value adding and building a real operation, and obviously targeting truly economic propositions. My board also has the chairman, Adrian Bias, is a geologist, resource geologist by background. And he's been with me and co-founded several of the companies. The most recent company we founded was Galena Mining, which is just commissioning now a large silver lead project, one of the world's largest silver lead projects, actually being commissioned in Western Australia. And the third director, Stuart Howe, is a mining and chemical engineer, and he's got a specialty in financing mines. So I think we've got a bit of depth in quite a small team.
Certainly sounds like it, and it seems like you covered all the bases. So let's talk about the A1 gold mine from which Kaiser Reef is already producing. Please tell us about A1, how it came into your possession, what you have there, and what you achieved so far.
Sure. It's a recent acquisition. We've only had it for just under 2 years. And it's a very interesting little mine. It's been running since 1861 and making it one of, if not the oldest running Australian gold mine. It's very high grade. And when we purchased this, we had to put a lot of capital in to get it up and running, as is typical. And it's a very high grade mining system. It's small scale, but has the potential to yield high margins. So the last quarter, our production was running at over 12 grams per tonne. That's recovered. And the ore body remains very much open-ended, and we're still inside the old timer workings, and we're working our way through to what we call the virgin reefs, the reefs that haven't been mined by historic miners. And we're seeing the grades increasing. We're routinely seeing 15 to 20 grams a tonne now going through the mill. And we're expecting that trend to continue as we open up areas that no one's ever seen before.
Ooh, excellent. So the potential to ramp up comes from these areas that you haven't reached yet, or that you're planning to reach. Is that going down? Is it at greater depth, or can you tell us a bit about it, of the layout?
Yes, the ore body itself is a pipe-like intrusion, and we're working our way through it. We've got a big decline. We invested a lot of money early on putting that decline extension going much deeper. And we're reaching the point where ventilation and power was a real issue historically. And right now we're drilling a deep high voltage cap series of holes to install a power system that will really unlock the operation. Only a few weeks ago, we've just purchased a lot more fleet. We're employing more people, and we're looking to really increase our production using the marvels of modern electricity primarily. It'll allow us to pump and to ventilate the mine and provide power to all the equipment at depth. So the ramp up is going very well, but it's got a long way to run.
Okay, that was going to be my question, because how long this work is going to take. certainly is going to be, you're going to be working on that for the next couple of months, right?
Oh yes, no, that's right. We've got we're modernising our fleet somewhat too. We're getting a lot more remote control equipment, but just by going deeper and getting that head grade up, we're hoping ultimately to get a run of mine grade of around 20 grams a tonne, which will be right up there on any kind of global scale.
Interesting. So. You're drilling there to see the potential at depth, to confirm the potential at depth. So that's sort of in mine exploration, I would say, but certainly quite close to the A1 gold mine. There's even more exploration potential. That is the Unity mine, the Nuggety, or the Maldon-Goldfeldes. I'm not sure why there's 3 names for it, but please tell us about that.
Sure. So the Maldon-Goldfield was one of the premier gold mines of Australian history. It's situated in between Bendigo and Ballarat, and it produced 2 million ounces, 2.1 million ounces at 28 grams a tonne historically. But at the northern end, where there's a contact with a granite, we've got a remobilisation of the gold and enrichment on that contact zone, which continues at depth. And that mine was called the Nuggety mine, produced 300,000 ounces of gold at 187 grams per tonne. And that contact is a high priority exploration target for us. We just completed some resource work, and we ended up with nearly 200,000 ounces of gold in sort of the remnant areas where more recent drilling has been conducted by us. Mm-hmm. But we're planning to do a lot more drilling. We had an envelope of another 300,000 ounces around that. And at the moment, we're very fortunate. We have an existing decline right through that mine, ventilation and power, and it's on a granted mining license. So permitting wise, it's very easy to get it back into production. There will have to be some investment in modernisation and an emergency second egress established. But it's an advanced exploration play for us. And it's only 2 kilometres away from our processing plant. And at the current stage, the A1 mine is only filling our mine mill by about 20% of its capacity. So there's a huge capacity to fill that mill.
That certainly sounds like a good plan for the future. Speaking of which, can you give us an idea of what you will hope to achieve there at Maldon between now, let's say, close to the end of the year and the end of the first half of 2023?
Well, it's going to require a lot more drilling before we put the capital in to really get a new mining fleet at this second site. So we'll be doing, the plan is to conduct a lot of drilling. We've already got engineers and geologists currently working on the ventilation and solutions to the engineering for that operation. As I said, all the mineralisation is open-ended, so it's just a matter of stepping out and doing that extra drilling. So that'll be the primary focus, and as soon as is practical, we expect to get that mine up and running. Okay, well, that would be great. 2 mines running, and the mill is already there and has the capacity for both. Then until you get there, though, as you said repeatedly, you will have to invest money. All the work doesn't come free, and also inflation is weighing on mining companies too, I should think. So how much of a challenge is the current environment for Kaiser Reef, and does it help that you're producing high grade and that your gold price is in Australian dollars, not in US dollars? Well, certainly the currency is hugely assisting our operations. The Australian gold price as we speak is 2,620 Australian dollars, and all our all-in operating costs are $1,300 per ounce. So we've got a really good margin. Last quarter, we increased our cash balance, but we installed a new crusher. We did a lot of deep diamond drilling, purchased a new fleet, and yet we still increased our cash balance. So the company's on great footing there. When we really complete that ramp up at A1, we're hoping for a pretty good margin, which will finance our next mine at Maldon for sure.
Okay, that sounds good. So let's sum up things shortly. Please let our audience know, in your opinion, why now might be a good time to have a closer look at Kaiser Reef.
Well, we're a little bit off the radar. We haven't done much marketing, and so consequently, we have a very low enterprise value of only about, I think, about $12 million Australian in that order. And I think that's a disappointing outcome, given we have an operating mine, a processing plant, mining fleet, exploration upside. So I think there's a wonderful leverage for the operation. And in Australian dollar terms, taking a step back, over the last year, the gold price has actually risen by 11%, which comfortably keeps us ahead of the inflation pressures we're facing. You know, I think it's a little bit of a different company because it's a smaller scale but high grade miner. But I'm very excited about the future, and it's certainly historically, this mine's been running for a very long time, and we see it continuing for a lot longer.
Okay, thank you very much. That certainly sounds like a good closing remark. Thank you for taking the time, and we'll be sure to check in a couple of months then to see how it all went. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bjorn. Appreciate that.